Hey friends, what you see here is called a continuous passive motion machine for the knee and the hip. So you can see here I've actually put some extra rubber around this handpiece because just this handpiece to replace is $600. Okay, so I hired, this is called an Atramoc K1 and I sleep in it, okay? Not all, like last night I hardly slept in it at all. Some nights I sleep in it maybe 7 hours, other nights maybe 2, it just depends how I feel. But I hired one for a month. It cost me $660 for the month, including shipping. And this one to buy, and then I left it for a week. I sent it back and I thought, you know what, I'm going to buy one of these. This one cost me $4,345, okay? I know it's so expensive, but I'll tell you why I bought it, okay? I'm just going to I'll move out to the other room. Hey friends. So the reason I bought that CPM machine, it's very painful for me to talk about. I'm completely devastated. I try not to think about what happened, you know, but when I do think about it, I get so emotional and angry. So, okay, so what happened was on the 31st of March 2016, I went to get an MRA, and the doctor the orthopedic surgeon I had seen had ordered the Gallidium, which is the dye, with an anaesthetic, and I thought nothing of the anaesthetic. You know, I did not think that would be harmful at all, and you would never think that an orthopedic surgeon, like you go to orthopedic surgeons to help them protect your cartilage, you would never think that they would inject anything into the joint which could be damaging to the cartilage, right? Wrong. Okay, so and you know, I'm just such an idiot. I just didn't look up Marcaine before the injection. But you know, his writing, you know what doctor's writing was like. It was very difficult to understand what the writing was. But I just didn't even think it would be an issue, right? You just don't. So, unfortunately, after the injection, I had a really bad reaction to the injection where my hip joint felt like it was burning, like my pain level went to a 15 out of 10. I could not do anything to reduce the pain, and for the first 3 days after injection, my hip felt like it was a balloon full of water. Okay, so it was impeding my ability even to walk just from the amount of fluid that was in there. Anyway, so after this burning sensation that I was a mess. I was a complete nut job in pain, right? And so I started doing research, and I have access to a university library, all the journal articles you could ever want to find in the world. So I started looking up this Marcaine, and the generic term for Marcaine is bupivacaine, right? And for over 5 years now, doctors or most of the medical profession has known that 0.5% bupivacaine, which is what this doctor ordered into my hip joint, is chondrotoxic, which means toxic to cartilage, and can cause chondrolysis, which is complete destruction of the cartilage. And that doctor, he ordered a large dose, which 10 mil of the most toxic concentration of bupivacaine, which is 0.5% bupivacaine. If that doctor had ordered, say, 3 mil of 0.25% bupivacaine, I would be a lot less worried. But for 10 mil at 0.5% bupivacaine, I was very, 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 very worried, right? So because those studies on even one injection of 0.5% bupivacaine into a rat joint, and after 6 months, 50% of the chondrocytes in the cartilage, which the chondrocytes are the cells that exist within the cartilage matrix which keep the cartilage healthy and alive, 50% of those were dead in the 0.5% bupivacaine injection joints, okay? So, and at 70 point, and in the study, 75% of chondrocyte deaths meant complete destruction of the cartilage. So at 6 months, after 0.5% bupivacaine, 50% of them are gone. Yeah, it's just a little bit further, and the whole cartilage is gone. Anyway, so I went back to this doctor who ordered this Marcaine injection. I said, what, you know, aren't you aware of the research on this? He goes, I am aware, but he goes, I also know what works. And I thought, yeah, it works. It doesn't just numb the cartilage, it friggin' kills it. So my GP, my doctor, she told me I should actually report him to the Queensland Health Ombudsman, but emotionally I just can't deal with doing that right now. But I do feel a need to save others from this. So I'm actually going to see my GP tomorrow to talk to her about this. Because this orthopedic surgeon's been practicing for 20 years, and that's what he said. He's been using these Marcaine injections for 20 years, and he said he doesn't think he's ever created someone with hip replacement, caused a hip replacement in someone. And I thought, you wouldn't know, mate, because there's people like me who never go back to you, right? Anyway, you know, and even his secretary said that she said to me when I paid the bill for that doctor, she said, and then she saw how visibly shocked I was at her statement, and she backpedaled a bit. She said, oh, yeah, Dr. Donnelly, because the doctor who I saw was Bill Donnelly in Brisbane, she said, Dr. Donnelly's patients do well for a couple of years after hip preservation surgery, but then they all eventually need a hip replacement. And I thought, really, that is really shocking. But now I know why, because you've given him all these friggin' injections, this Marcaine, this 0.5% Marcaine or bupivacaine. Anyway, so I was like, so I can never get a hip replacement because I'm allergic to metals, and I thought, what am I going to do? So I get searching for journal articles, right? And I was already aware of the protective effects of continuous passive motion, and also the regenerative effects of continuous passive motion to cartilage, right? So I found a few articles on continuous passive motion, and you know, these animal joints had been injected with a chemical that normally created destruction of the cartilage, but some of the animals had CPM, okay, applied to the joint immediately after surgery, or immediately after the injection, or 2 days after the injection, and they found that generally immediately after the injection actually could cause increased cartilage loss. But if there was a delay, like if the animals were injected, then they were allowed to just walk around their cages for 2 days, and then they were put on continuous passive motion. That actually protected the cartilage from destruction, okay, in most instances. So it helped the chondrocytes, the cartilage cells, to recover, okay. So like, I didn't know anything about this Marcaine and the toxicity for maybe 4 or 5 days after the injection, when I started getting this burning, and all the fluid left the joint after 3 days, and so I got right onto it. And as soon as I found this out, I thought, I either need to, because in the research in humans, it showed that the cartilage was destroyed between 4 months and 6 years, depending on whether it was the shoulder joint, the knee joint, depending on the person. And unfortunately, slender females are more susceptible to the effects of 0.5% bupivacaine. And like, if he had injected 0.25% bupivacaine, like a less toxic concentration of the bupivacaine, you know, at like a smaller volume, like 3 ml, I'd be much less worried. I don't know if I already mentioned that. Sorry if I've already mentioned that, but that's not what he ordered. He ordered 10 ml. He ordered a large dose of the most toxic concentration, right? So I need to be very worried. Anyway, so I thought, I gotta hire a CPM machine. I just got to do it. Like, you know, some people think you're crazy, but if you read the research, you'd be thinking the same thing, I reckon, right? So that cost me $660 for the month, as I said, and then I sent it back, and then I just went to my bed and just sleeping every night without the CPM machine. And I was very aware then of how my joint wasn't moving all through the night, and how over time this could be detrimental, because if your joint isn't moving, your cartilage, you know, metabolism slows down, you know, the synovial fluid isn't pumping over, and all this, right? So after a month of hiring CPM, trying it out, I thought, and after a week of not having one, I thought, you know what, I just got to do it. I just got to buy one, because a CPM machine, like $5,000 all up for this CPM experience, is a lot less than, you know, losing all my cartilage, never having a hip replacement, being in hellish pain for the rest of my life, and or even like hip surgery in Australia with a, you know, a good surgeon can be you know, I was calculating it would be about $8,000 by the time I pay for flights and everything to go see a surgeon, pay the excess over the private health insurance, you know, and then hip surgery. I'm sure it would have failed anyway, right? So that's why I bought the CPM machine. Had I not had that Marcaine injection, I probably wouldn't have bought that CPM machine. But in this instant, I just want to be more confident that I'm doing everything I can to protect my cartilage after this chemical assault from the 0.5% bupivacaine, okay? So that's at that high volume that he injected into my small hip joint, right? And I have had opinions from other surgeons since then, and they said yes, toxic. One surgeon in America said he would never inject 10 ml of 0.5% bupivacaine into the hip joint because it would be chondrotoxic, right? So there you go. So that's it. But, you know, generally with CPM, like I said, it's shown to be protective to cartilage, and when they in knee joints of rabbits, there's been plenty of studies where they've actually done full thickness cartilage defects where they drill in a hole all the way down to the bone, and the CPM helps heal that cartilage hole, that cartilage defect completely, a lot more complete and better quality than animals that just had cage activity. Okay, so I wonder if over time the CPM will help my hip joint to overall heal better. Okay, so and it is very nice to sleep in it. It does actually reduce the pain. It's almost feels like, for me, it's like it's massaging my hip joint. That's how it feels. It feels really nice. So yeah, so like even though I haven't worked for 7 years, even though I'm not rich, I don't regret buying that CPM machine at all. And yeah, so that's it. Okay, well, I hope that this has been helpful and informative to you guys, and thanks for watching. I'll see you later.